just to put this in the actual context of, well, a tangible and practical situation, if they participate, if this hospital participates because they're forced at the hand of the state of California, and then that person who unfortunately had to go through that then sues the hospital, does the state of California, because they forced the hospital to do that, then have to pay for the settlement of that lawsuit? By way, is that going to be transferred to the taxpayer of California? Good question, Donna. I'm not entirely sure how that works, but unfortunately probably will be the case that happens like that. And that's all the time we're going to have for today. Make sure on Sunday you flip your TV one way or the other if you're watching the big game at all. I know a lot of people are kind of turned off by the NFL. So if you're watching it all, flip it one way. Go find the halftime show that you don't need subtitles for, and good. We will see you tomorrow, same time, same place, TBT at TBUSA.com. God bless America.
When the lights go down, the truth comes out.
Tucker, you are not the father. This has to be wrong!
After Hours with Alex Stein. No filter.
If it was okay to have anal sex.
No apologies.
You were talking about things that probably you shouldn't talk about.
The undisputed king of trolling.
I finally had my own show!
At one point, your ancestors owned slaves.
They tried to cancel us.
Deplatforming works.
She wants to kill babies, but she's still beautiful. Look at that booty on AOC. That's my favorite big booty Latina.
Politics, culture, hypocrisy.
They want them to have their penises cut off.
Uncensored and uncontrolled.
Cut your penis off, actually.
That's what I'm saying. They admit they want to cut people's penises off.
Late night just got dangerous. After Hours with your host, Alex Stein, starts right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching After Hours with Alex Stein on Real America's Voice. And you know what we're going to do tonight? We're going to get in the mud with a guy that I like. I actually like this guy. He's a little libtarded. His name's Brian Shapiro. But believe it or not, he's actually a friendly fellow. I like the guy, so just watch the show. It's going to be entertaining. And honestly, even though the guy is a total libtard, there are some things that I agree with him with. And I think that's how most Americans are. I think, more of us actually have more in common than we disagree on. So that's going to be very interesting. But before I get into the Brian Shapiro debate, I want to talk about the Grammys. The Grammys used to be an iconic music award show that really celebrated great musicians. But now it has become propaganda for homosexuals and transgender people to go and be as weird and demonic as possible. And you saw the host, Trevor Noah, took some shots at Donald Trump, which I understand as a comedian, we should be taking some shots at the people that are in power. But he goes after Nicki Minaj, and Nicki Minaj is a black woman, and Trevor Noah's half black. So I think, maybe he's full black. I don't know. I've never seen his DNA test. My point is, it seems racist of him to attack a black woman. And I really am really frustrated because I watched the whole show. I didn't see any Chinese people win any awards. Chinese people come to this country, America, and oftentimes are the most successful. Do they have an inside job because of the CCPs paying for their land and whatnot? Maybe. Is it because they have Uyghur slaves in their country so that they can use slave labor, so it helps them, excel at other industries? But there is one industry where the Chinese are not represented fairly, and that was at the Grammys this year. So I think the Grammys is racist for not giving any Chinese people any awards, a lot like the NBA. There's not very many Chinese guys in the NBA. Jeremy Lin, the one Chinese guy. Well, you know what? He was cool for like a year. He's not in the NBA anymore. We need more Chinese representation. So that's where I'm really frustrated. I think the Grammys is not only gay, not only retarded, but it's also racist. And I'm really against that because obviously here at the show, we're very accepting of all ethnicities, all races, especially big booty Latinas. You guys know where I stand with big booty Latinas. They are my favorite thing in the world. And when I talk about the blatant racism at the Grammys, I want to pull up this clip of a person that I'm kind of related to. His name is Stein, which sounds like he could be a relative of mine. And he decided to go in his blackface costume to the Grammys. And you know what? Nobody said a word to him. He did not get canceled. The guy's wearing blackface at the Grammys. If I wore blackface at the Grammys, I would go to jail. They would literally throw me in a California jail. But this guy gets to wear blackface and go around eating hors d'oeuvres and talking to other celebrities. It's ridiculous. So I want to call it the hypocrisy of the Grammys. Not enough Chinese people, and people are doing blackface openly. And then on top of that, you see Billie Eilish is saying we're on stolen land. Well, you know what? So what? If we got it stolen, they're not getting it back. And these Indians that you're complaining about, those are the ones that are most upset that the Washington Redskins change their name to the Washington Commanders. They get free casinos in all these states. If you ask me, these Indians, not the ones with the dots on their head, I'm talking about the Indians. I know that can get confusing and people can get, a little confused. They have it pretty good. I would love to have a casino and just rob people, middle-class people, of their hard-earned money through slot machines and roulette tables. I don't get to do that because I'm a white guy. I don't get to just have a land and do whatever the heck I want on it, but I would. So I want to call out these, what I call intellectual celebrities, or I guess pseudo-intellectuals, that go and try to lecture us after they win an award and make us feel guilty as if their virtue signaling actually affects anything in the modern world. I mean, Billie Eilish says in her gated community, she doesn't even know what's really going on. So it's all a LARP, live action role play, that these people actually care about us, when in reality, if you're at the same store with them, you ask them for a selfie, most of these people at the Grammy would say no. They'd say, no, I don't want to take a picture with you. You're not cool enough. So we got to call out the Grammys. They deserve to be canceled. They have some of their biggest DJs wearing blackface. You have CeeLo Green with his son named Lake Erie, and that was really weird. We really should have a clip of Lake Erie, but that guy, his son, is a total creep. All of these artists, for some reason, when they go to Hollywood, they're young, they're fresh, the world is their oyster. And then by the time they start to get the fame and they start to get the money, you notice that everything becomes demonic. I think a perfect example is Lil Nas X. He had that one song in the video game and Red Dead Redemption. Next thing you know, the guy's the biggest rap artist of the year. And what does he do? He makes a video where he's giving fellatio to Satan. And they don't do this accidentally. They do this on purpose, because what they want to do is they want to socially engineer your children and adults to be weird, to be demonic, to forget that God is real. And that's what they do. They want to take away God, because when there is no God, you don't have any morals, and you're basically easily controllable that way. And so I want to just say tonight, one of the biggest lies, and I'm sure Brian will probably disagree with me, is that the biggest lie that we tell to young people is that God is not real. But the mathematical equation for the Earth just being a cosmic accident is the same possibility of a tornado going through a junkyard and creating a 737 airplane on the other end. It's mathematically impossible that the universe was just some sort of cosmic accident from two rocks smashing together. So there is a God, and that God is powerful. That God is good. But these people at the Grammys, they worship God's enemy, and that is Satan. So when you're with your family and you're watching the Grammys, please tell your kids, please say, we need to do the opposite of these celebrities. We need to do the opposite of these singers and songwriters, because these people worship the almighty dollar. These people literally make videos like Lil Nas X giving fellatio, oral sex for the people that don't know what that word is, to Satan. And I don't want to be a part of it. I'm not okay with that. I think, if anything, if anybody's going to get fellatio, not giving it, at least getting it. I mean, that's even worse. Maybe that makes sense. Maybe if he got it from Satan. I mean, maybe I can understand that if I'm the music director. But instead, Lil Nas X is actually doing stuff to Satan. It's disgusting. And that's why I like the movie Little Nicky, because they show Adam Sandler and he goes to hell and they're shoving pineapples in Hitler's butt. That's funny, right? They're making fun of Hitler. And that was meant to demonize Hitler. But now these modern-day celebrities, they want to play that character. They want to be the ones that are sexually assaulting Satan. And I wish I was kidding. I wish everything that I said tonight was a joke, but everything that I said, sadly, is just a fact. It's absolutely insane, but the world that we live in is the upside-down world. They give you the impression that all this is normal when none of it is. And the Grammys are very, very racist. And I want all my Chinese brothers and sisters to stand up with me tonight and to honor our heritage, because I'm a little Chinese. I'm not a lot. I feel like I'm a little Mongolian. I want us to stand up tonight and honor our Chinese brothers and sisters that were slighted by this racist music awards show. Do you promise to do that with me? Make a promise if you're watching this right now. I know it's late at night. You've had a long day, but just promise you that you're going to stand up for all these Chinese people that steal our information and all of our military industrial technology. Thank you. All right, guys, coming up next, we have a Piers Morgan regular. He is the host of Pushing the Limits Radio, and he's an all-around redheaded libtard. But believe it or not, not all redheads are evil. Some of them are, that's for sure. Some of them are definitely evil. But you're not going to want to miss this. Things are going to get heated, and we might be agreeable on some topics too, so that might surprise you. So with all that being said, thank you for watching After Hours with Alex Stein. It's about to get spicy. We'll see you after the break.
This holiday season, Real America's Voice is proud to partner with our friends at Angel Studios for a special giveaway you won't want to miss. As they launch Season 2 of their hit series Homestead, we're giving you the chance to win an exclusive Homestead hat absolutely free. Everyone who becomes an Angel Guild member using our link is automatically entered to the contest. When you join, you're supporting meaningful pro-American storytelling, and you're supporting RAV at the same time. Scan the QR code on your screen right now, or text the word RAVAngel to 75802. After you scan or text, make sure you follow the steps provided. When you complete the steps and join the Angel Guild, you'll be automatically entered to win that exclusive Homestead hat, a perfect holiday gift for yourself or someone you love.
Be one of the first 50 people to sign up and win a hat automatically. Hurry while there's still time.
So scan that QR code or text RAVAngel to 75802. Happy holidays from all of us at RAV.
Hi, my name is Tracy L. from Arizona. I don't stink around in the kitchen when it comes to the news. I watch Real America's Voice, which always serves accurate and reliable updates that are on point with their amazing hosts. So don't find yourself in a pickle by tuning into the fake news. Stick with Real America's Voice.
Flashosaurus in the chat. I love Real America's Voice because I can watch news being delivered to me live while I chat with the family I love.
It's Mama Love in northern Minnesota. You know, a collective voice is much louder than a single voice. Thanks, Rav, for giving us a place to chat and connect. See y'all in chat.
I'm Lou, Mega Pilot from Rav's Getter Chat here in beautiful Trump County, Florida. The best place for real news is Real America's Voice.
Welcome back to After Hours with Alex Stein. I'm your host, the Pimp on a Blimp, Primetime 99 Alex Stein, and I want to welcome on our next guest. And I know a lot of people criticize the left because they don't want to engage in a civil discussion, but I have to give my guest, Brian Shapiro, a lot of credit. I don't ever see him run away from debates. As a matter of fact, I see him run 2 debates. Why? Because he needs a clout. I mean, we all do a little bit, so I can't hate on him too much. But at least he's not afraid to go out there and defend some of his idiotic viewpoints. So with all that being said, you know him from Piers Morgan. He's a regular on that show. He's also the host of Pushing the Limits Radio. Give it up for the one, the only, Brian Shapiro. Brian, how are you doing this evening?
Doing good, Alex. Thanks for having me on the show. It's good to see you.
It's always a pleasure, Brian. This is the thing. We have this left-right divide, when in reality, I think most of us kind of fall somewhere in the middle. Like, you and I totally disagree. Like, you love abortion, right?
I never said I love abortion. That's not true. I just don't want to get involved in a woman's body.
Yes, you said you love abortion. You said you love it, and you like the baby parts. You buy them from Planned Parenthood, and you do rituals with them on Jeffrey Epstein's island. Please admit to that now. Is it true?
I was just going to say, I
don't
don't love abortion any more than I would love you taking all of your clothes off right now. If you catch a drift, I'm pointing out there. Go ahead, Alex.
That you're not gay. So now you're using gay as a pejorative, which is another thing that the left does. They're so pro-gay, but they're always like, oh, he's gay. That guy's gay. Isn't that a little hypocritical when the left uses gay as a pejorative, with a negative connotation?
I just don't have a fetish for right-wing buffoons. I'm sorry.
Okay, first of all, I'll allow you to call me that only because I like you, Brian. But I honestly
you call me a
probably could. I know, that's just fine. We're just having fun. But my point is, I could be more serious, Brian, but we live in such a crazy world. I feel like that constant, seriousness, it's not any fun. It brings me down.
Alex,
so
I'll be
that's
honest.
why I kind of...
I listened.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I listened to your monologue. You made me laugh a lot. I totally agree with what you're saying. I do so much serious talk radio all the time. And I do believe you're a breath of fresh air. I'm not saying this to kiss your ass, but you're a funny guy. You make me laugh. And even when we debated in Phoenix over there at AmFest, it was fun. I had fun debating you because it wasn't so damn serious. And you and I were able to laugh with one another, and we could grab a beer afterwards. And I just feel like we're living in such serious times right now, and it's so stressful. And there are a lot of serious topics to talk about, but I think we need more people like you. Just make people laugh. Don't take everything so seriously.
And I do, and I meant what I said, that you're not shy when it comes to having these debates. I think that is a common critique. And I know there's a lot of big left-wing debaters, but it is hard to get a left-leaning person to come on a conservative show. But if a left-leaning show ever invited me, I would do the same thing that you do. I would go straight on that show because I want to actually spread my viewpoints to an audience that doesn't normally hear it, right? And so I think what you do is effective because you get on platforms where a lot of leftists won't go, and then they can hear your ideas, and whether they like it or not, at least you're actually getting your message across. So I want to commend you on that. But before we get into, we're kissing each other's butts too much, so I'm already going to get canceled. Everybody already calls me a libtard, and we're going to get into Renee Good and Alex Pretty, but I want to start off with your ex-boyfriend, Don Lemon. So you used to date Don Lemon, is that true?
No, that's entirely not true, but Don, in all seriousness...
Why would my producer lie? He said y'all were very close, and y'all spent a bunch of nights together, and he's like your mentor and stuff, and that he groomed you. Is my producer lying when he said all this?
Definitely not true, but I will say in seriousness, he's helped me with my career. He's a good dude. He's been a really good friend of mine. And what has happened to him over the course of the last several days or so will only help him and make him stronger. Donald Trump has helped Don Lemon's career.
Hey, you know what? Actually, I think that is a good point. The more you try to cancel somebody, I think it has a reverse effect where it actually makes you, more popular. But tell me this. So before we really, I know you're not going to trash your friend Don Lemon, but he says white supremacy is one of our biggest problems in America, yet he's married to a white guy. Doesn't that seem a little bit hypocritical?
Yeah. No, because he's not saying every white person is a white supremacist, Alex. Of course, white supremacy is a problem in America, and anybody who says it's not, you're just like Tucker Carlson. There's racist people in all crayons in the color crayon box, for lack of a better term. And Don was saying, white supremacy is a problem. Islamophobia is a problem. Homophobia is a problem. Anti-Semitism is a problem. There's a lot of problems in this country. Obviously, he's not saying his husband is a white supremacist. I don't think he'd marry somebody like that. But saying that white supremacy is an issue in America, is completely correct. I don't know about you, Alex. I don't know what it's like to be pulled over because of the color of my skin. I don't know what it's like to be followed in an electronics store because of the color of my skin. I've never been judged by somebody looking at me. So I believe Don Lemon, and the difference between me and a lot of people on the right that say systemic racism doesn't exist is they don't listen to black people. They don't understand that life is different through somebody else's lens other than your own.
Well, listen, we already agree on something. I believe systemic racism does exist. In the 60s, it was towards black people. But now we have systemic racism. I can't even say it. Systemic racism towards white people, because why do I have to have a higher score to get into medical school or law school than a black person? Don't you think that that is racist? Why are they able to get into a school with a lower grade than me? Why is the bar lowered for them? How is that not a direct attack on me because of my race?
Well, first of all, that's never happened to me, number one. Number two, if you're talking about affirmative action, I think most people would agree minorities in this country as a whole in the past have not had maybe the same opportunities as somebody like me or somebody like you. There is something in this country called white privilege. Now, I don't necessarily agree with someone having the same grades or somebody having better grades or more extracurriculars, not getting into a college and picking somebody else who is black. I'm not necessarily a big fan of that, but I can understand it. There's a difference. I might not necessarily agree with it, but I certainly understand it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I want to help marginalized people too, but the reason why everybody's getting followed in an electronics store is because if you look at per capita crime stats, African Americans tend to commit certain crimes that other ethnicities don't commit. And I mean, you can blame that on, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that doesn't mean that gives you the right to racially profile somebody. That doesn't mean that.
See, I disagree.
You can just go up.
Well, I disagree, because actually law enforcement, and now you see it with ICE, racial profiling is one of their best tactics when it comes to arresting criminals. Like they will even tell you that in certain states they'll get rid of the law where they can't racially profile, and the arrests go down.
Are you saying are you saying you're against the Fourth Amendment?
Listen, of course I'm not against the Fourth Amendment, but if you see a guy and he's in a big car and there's, weed smoke coming out of it and they're listening to a bunch of gangster rap music, maybe that they are doing something nefarious. I don't understand why that's, if they are committing a crime and they get caught, it's not because of their race. It's because they were doing a crime. If they weren't committing a crime, they wouldn't go to jail. Like, cops don't go arrest black people for just being black. They might get pulled over for being black, but they don't go to jail for being black. You see the difference?
Yeah, but that's insane. That's like me saying, if I hear somebody listening to country music, does that mean they're in the Klan? If I listen to somebody listening to Kanye West, should I assume that they're a Nazi? No, of course not. That would be ridiculous. Just because somebody.
Well, time out. Well, I have to cut you off. If you listen to Kanye West, everybody is considered an anti-Semite now, so you know that. I mean, that is
perhaps. But
look at those guys in that nightclub. Yeah, I get your point. But I'm just saying, I think racial profiling, when it comes to law enforcement, it's a tool that they use. And when they take away that tool, it does give criminals the opportunity to go commit crimes a little easier. But
yeah, well, I disagree with you. I want everyone treated the same. I want everybody treated the same with the law, whether it's black people, white people, I don't care, MAGA, Democrat, everybody should be treated on the same scale. And that's not what's happening in this country. And it's certainly not what's happening in Minneapolis. But going back to Don Lemon, who happens to be a black gay man, he didn't break any laws. He wasn't protesting. He didn't break the FACE Act. You had to have been protesting or disrupting. He didn't do any of that stuff. I just debated Benny Johnson on this on Piers Morgan today. It's a joke. These charges are not going to hold up. It'd be tough to just even get him on a trespassing charge, okay? Let alone the other serious
real
charges.
Quick. I have to cut you off a little bit, though. These people were trying to have a church service, and he was part of a mob that ran in there and cut off the church service. Even the Westboro Baptist Church, which is disgusting. No, okay, real quick. But you know the Westboro Baptist Church. You've heard of them. They go and protest, and they say the most disgusting thing. They say our military veterans are going to go to hell. They don't even go and disrupt a church service. If I walked into a mosque and shut it down, I would go to jail. So I don't understand how you cannot see
Rightfully
that
so.
He stopped it.
Alex?
But I'm saying he stopped them from having
he didn't.
a church service.
No, he didn't. This is where you're wrong, Alex. I am not defending the actual protesters. That is against the law. You're not allowed to protest on private property. You're certainly not allowed to protest in a religious sanctuary. Don Lemon was not doing that. You see it all on video. He was live the whole time. He wasn't protesting. He wasn't disrupting anybody. All the man simply did was take out his phone.
He was talking. Wait, Brian, he was talking to the pastor. He was talking to the pastor while the pastor was trying to do the church. This clip right here, he's like, please leave. So whether it's an interview or not, he's still disrupting the service because he's holding a camera phone. I don't think that really negates the fact that he interrupted it. So you're saying that you can interrupt. Okay, Brian, you're saying that you can interrupt a church service as long as you're being a journalist. Then that gives you the ability to stop people from worshiping?
No, the people that interrupted the church service were the actual protesters. And after the protest started, that is when Don Lemon decided to interview the pastor when he was not in the middle of the service, when the service was clearly over or interrupted. It is almost going to be impossible for prosecutors to prove that Don Lemon was a part of that protest in that fashion. I guarantee you these charges will not hold up. And by the way, legal experts on the right and the left, for the most part, agree with me. And I also find it interesting that so many people on the right want to throw Don Lemon in jail because a church service was interrupted. I don't believe it was his fault, but yet they don't want a full investigation into Jonathan Ross after he shoots a 37-year-old woman in the face. Nothing to see here, ladies and gentlemen. I find it very problematic. And by the way, Don Lemon didn't storm a church. If you want to talk about people who stormed something, go back to January 6th when all those people stormed.
You and I argue real quick, Brian. You and I argue so much. But Brian, real quick, we got to go to break. But you know that there was FBI agents there. The FBI will not even tell us how many agents are there. And they have a thing where they're called agent provocateurs. So they have an FBI agent go there and cause a bunch of drama. So it looks like it's a bunch of MAGA people when it's not MAGA people and it's the FBI. But we're going to get into it after the break. So coming up next, we're going to discuss these ICE shootings. And, I have a little bit of an unpopular opinion that, tends to agree with Brian a little bit. And it gets people really riled up. So coming up next after the break, I'm about to put you in a blender because I'm going to, put you through some mental gymnastics. And me and Brian are going to go at it. And the third segment, though, tonight is when the gloves really come off. So we'll see you after the break.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with this Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Most people know the biblical story of David, the shepherd boy who fought Goliath and became king. Well, Angel Studios has created a new animated film called David that tells the story of Israel's greatest king.
Followed when I'm looking for the way, when I'm searching for the answer, in the moments I'm afraid. There's a whisper in the wind, and a story in the sky, when I'm looking for a lantern to illuminate the night. If you want the secret of freedom and feeling alive, you gotta follow the light. Follow the light.
For those who love great animated classics like The Lion King and Prince of Egypt, David is an awe-inspiring animated musical that depicts David as a spirited boy who fought lions, giants, and even betrayal, depicting how one boy's faith could lead him to be king of Israel. David will be released in theaters just in time for Christmas on December 19th, but your family can get a head start by watching the prequel to the film, Young David, which is streaming exclusively right now on Angel. It's perfect for the entire family and has memorable music. So once you join the Angel Guild, you can start watching Young David right now and prepare the fam for the David film in theaters in December. And by joining the Guild, you'll guarantee 2 free tickets to see it. And it's a great value. Let's be honest, going to the movies isn't all that cheap. But if you're a member of the Angel Guild, not only do you get those 2 free tickets to David, but you'll now have access to every single film or TV series on Angel at your convenience anytime. So just go to angel.com/Rav and join there.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shopped. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patrons.
You're back on Real America's Voice, watching After Hours with Alex Stein and our great guest. He is libtarded, but I think he's a fair libtard. He's one of the good ones, you know. There are a few of them. Brian Shapiro. But Brian, I want to say this before we even get into this topic. I get universally hated by all conservatives for having a nuanced viewpoint. And it wasn't that long ago, and I'm not saying this to sound like a victim, but I don't know if you even know this, Brian. You know, my mom got COVID. She was 59 years old, was vaccinated, and they gave her remdesivir, and she died in my arms in less than 7 days. And they didn't, I got to spend every day with her. Well, I appreciate that. But I only got to spend like 4 hours a day with her. I had to leave at night, so I couldn't even sleep for the whole week because I'm just like calling the hospital, and they didn't hardly want to even give me reports on it. And I saw the weaponization of the government against conservatives during that time, and I was a real victim of it. And like I said, I'm not trying to act like a victim, but I just saw that, and this is after Trump was out. This is why Biden was the president. But Trump, you know, did do some stuff I disagreed with COVID, but that's neither here nor there. My point is, I did see the weaponization of the government come against me, a conservative, take away my right to be with my mom in the ICU. I mean, it was absolutely ridiculous. So that is even what's made me more conservative, because I want less government intervention. I think that the government is very incompetent when it comes to the rules that they set for us, and that oftentimes we have a two-tier justice system where these politicians and these illegal immigrants aren't held to the same standard as middle-class Americans like you and myself. So it's not a lot of fun when the rabbit gets the gun. And right now, technically, our side has the gun, but that can flip instantly with an impeachment, with a, scandal. And so all the people that are cheering on the ICE agents for shooting people in the street, even if the shootings are justified, it's still not a good situation, because it is only going to lay the groundwork for more shootings. So I get universally hated because I said that the cop that shot Renee Good, he didn't really get hit by that car very hard. I've been hit by a car. I got knocked off my feet. This guy's on his cell phone and, blasting cabs. I'm just being honest. Yep. I didn't think that he got hit by a car very hard, and he did blow her brains out, and everybody gets mad at me for saying that. So I think you agree with me on that topic. Why can't I have this take, Brian, without getting canceled, in your opinion?
Because there's a lot of Trump mushroom gobblers out there, and you're honest, and I agree with you. First of all, the shooting of Renee Good to me wasn't justified at all. But even if people disagree with us, Alex, there was no full investigation. In fact, you have Kristi Noem immediately calling her a domestic terrorist. It's a joke, and I can go through play-by-play, for lack of a better term, of all the proper protocols that they didn't abide by. And then we go to the Alex Preddy shooting, where we were told by Kristi Noem and others that he brandished a gun. And we know that didn't happen either. And there's Alex Preddy right there. So because he spit at an officer 11 days before, as we see in this video, and he kicks a car, that justifies him being executed? Unarmed, by the way. This is sick. These are sick people that defend this. So to answer your question, Alex, in all seriousness, people don't want the truth. They see a left-wing activist, and it's almost like they say, well, you deserved it. You put yourself in that situation. They're lying to us, Alex, and you're right. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry what happened to your mom. The government lies to us. I don't mean to sound like that despicable human being, Alex Jones, But the government does lie to us. I don't always believe the government. And the fact of the matter is that you have people, these ICE agents that are goons, that are wearing their scarves to hide their identity as if they're undercover agents, which, by the way, they're not. They're kicking down doors, okay, without warrants to do so, illegal. They're going up to people that have accents and brown people, asking them for ID and paperwork without reasonable or articulable suspicion. This is wrong. So obviously we agree on this, Alex. But the fact of the matter is the people out there that are attacking us for calling out what we saw with our own two eyes, they're sick. I did a 4-hour debate the other day with Andrew Wilson. And you know what his defense was?
Go ahead. I want to hear Andrew's defense. No, let me hear Andrew's defense, and then I want to tell you my statement. What was
the
Andrew's
Alex
defense?
Preddy shooting, and this is on video, okay, our debate. His defense with Alex Preddy was, well, after they took the first gun, they didn't know. Maybe he had a second gun or a third gun. If that's your defense in this shooting, then that would be your defense in every officer-involved shooting, because it's not a defense. It's wrong. And I don't trust the DHS. I don't trust Kristi Noem. They've simply already made their decision. Stephen Miller called him an assassin. Is there any reasonable person that thinks Alex Preddy went in there to execute people? No, of course not.
Well, he did bring a gun there. I mean, let's be real. He did bring a gun there. He didn't bring it. He didn't just bring it for funsies. He brought it in case he needed to use it, and he was going after ICE. So I'm just saying he did have some premeditation. But this is where I think, when it comes to this situation where you and I are, this is where we disagree. I saw the horrible tragedy. We all saw the horrible tragedy of Charlie Kirk. And that was a leftist with his gay boyfriend, shooting him in the neck.
That's irrelevant.
And so I think it is very relevant because it was one of the biggest assassinations. It's the biggest assassination. I guess Japan's prime minister got assassinated.
Who his boyfriend is irrelevant, whether he's gay or straight.
I mean, the fact that they're mentally ill and doing weird stuff, that could have been that he could. The
There's
likelihood
mentally ill people that are straight too.
I'm saying. That's true. But even I was on Jubilee and they even fact checked me correct. It's over 70% of people that identify as gay said that they face sexual trauma as a child. So if he's a gay guy, there's a likelihood, if it's 70%, that he could have been molested. So he's going to have, serious mental illness.
We don't know.
It's kind of like two peas in a pod. We don't know this, but I'm just going by math because I'm a mathematician, because I'm Alex Einstein. But so what I'm saying is we saw this horrible tragedy, and now the people that are cheering this on, I think they're happy because we lost a person that we all loved, a beloved member of the conservative movement, probably the most important guy of the last, other than Donald Trump. I think you could argue Charlie Kirk was probably the most influential person in the conservative movement. So people feel like they're being vindicated, and I don't like that either because two wrongs don't make a right.
Alex, here's where I think you're wrong on this, okay, respectfully. First of all, when Charlie Kirk was murdered, it was horrible. You couldn't find me one prominent elected official on the left that was celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. Now, it doesn't mean we're going to celebrate.
They were secretly, Brian. They were secretly, trust me.
No, that's BS. There's no evidence of that. So I call out political violence no matter where it is. What happened to Charlie Kirk was awful. I was emotional on the air the day it happened. Now, I'm not going to sit here and celebrate his life, because I don't think he was a good guy, but that doesn't mean I'm going to celebrate.
He was a good guy, Brian. You actually would have liked Charlie, and Charlie would have let you go to his event. Charlie would have welcomed you, would have debated you. That's it. That's why Charlie. I'm telling you, he was a good guy. Well, don't talk bad about Charlie. Okay. He was a good guy.
You were Fred.
And I'm not even taking that personally. I'm just saying you would have liked him. I know you well enough. You would have liked and respected Charlie if you had.
Okay, well, maybe not, but maybe not. But to get off the Charlie Kirk stuff, I'm consistent. I call out political violence no matter where it is. What happened to Charlie Kirk was terrible. I also call out what's happening in Minneapolis with Renee Good and Alex Preddy. This is all terrible. Now, there is a full investigation into the murder of Charlie Kirk. Why is there no full investigation into what I believe is the murder of Renee Good? They made the decision within 24 hours.
Real quick, Brian, isn't that Minneapolis' PD's fault? They've definitely stood down.
No, it's not.
They're not even. No. Yes, they're not even getting involved. They're the ones that can arrest. They can arrest an FBI or DHS or Department or ICE agent.
They're not allowing them to investigate. They're not allowing them to get involved. The Trump administration and those officials, the Tom Homans of the world, are not allowing local police to get involved. Now, listen, I don't agree with what some of the protesters are doing, like blocking roads. I talked about that yesterday. I think you're stupid if you do that, okay? But most of these people are only recording. Most of these people are not breaking the law, and they're treating some of these people like animals. We saw earlier today, there's a video that's circulating of 2 people in a car who were following ICE. Now, listen, Alex, it's not something you would do. It's not something I would do, but it's still legal. So what do these ICE agents do? They pull them over, and there's video of them taking out their guns and drawing them when these people weren't armed and they weren't breaking the law, and they were arrested. This is Gestapo stuff, and Joe Rogan even agrees with me. Well, this is wrong.
Well, I want to say this. I am very empathetic to the ICE agents and the Department of Homeland Security, because there's a famous video of me going at a drag queen story time, and these guys are holding guns, and one of the people that were holding guns was actually the same guy that got arrested. I forget his name. I don't want to dox the wrong name. He got arrested for shooting an ICE agent. You know, there was an ambush where they shot ICE agents. You know that happened. Mm-hmm. So these people they feel like there's an attack on them. They feel like they're literally being attacked. So everything right now is incredibly stressful. It's stressful for the protesters. It's stressful for the ICE agents. It's stressful for DHS. And I feel like the only people that are not stressed out are the ones that are not protesting, not getting involved. So that's why I encourage people, don't go protest at an ICE protest. The likelihood of things going south, like Don Lemon learned, is a high probability.
Yeah, but Alex, these are a lot of these people on the streets, these ICE agents, 47 days of training. That's an effing joke. Okay, a $50,000 bonus and 47 days of training, scarves over their faces. Let me ask you a question. How do we hold accountability to these ICE officers if we don't know who they are? Why is it police officers don't have scarves over their face? How do we hold these people accountable if they won't show us who they are? I don't want to live in a
I'm
country
anti-mask.
Like
I'm anti-mask. So, yeah, I don't like masks. So, I mean, I can't really argue with that. I don't like masks. But I think that in this modern era, they can identify anybody. They have facial recognition. Your iPhone, you can cover half your face, and it knows by your eyeballs it'll open up. So they can figure out who these people are. You know who they are. So it's not that hard to figure it out, Brian.
I suppose so, but I think a lot of these ICE officers that are wearing those masks are coward and rent-a-cops. That's what I would call them. I'm not saying every ICE officer is bad. I'm not. And by the way, I'm pro-police. I think the overwhelming majority of law enforcement are good people that risk their lives every day.
See, right there, you and I disagree. I'm F the police. There's only a few good cops. You know what I mean? That's funny. You and I are opposite on that. See, I'm libtarded on that, and you're conservative on the cop stuff. Well, coming up after the break, Brian and I have had some spicy debates in the past when it comes to January 6th. We're going to talk about January 6th, and we're going to talk about the trans movement, where Brian actually has some nuanced takes on that. So you definitely want to stick around, because I'm telling you, it's about to get spicy, and it might get a little nicey. I'm excited to be here with you this evening. I know it's a little late, so you got to stay up. You might want to put the kids to bed, because, things might get a little naughty here when we come back after the break.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with this Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Most people know the biblical story of David, the shepherd boy who fought Goliath and became king. Well, Angel Studios has created a new animated film called David that tells the story of Israel's greatest king.
Followed when I'm looking for the way, when I'm searching for the answer, in the moments I'm afraid, there's a whisper in the wind, and a story in the sky, when I'm looking for a lantern to illuminate the night. If you want the secret of freedom and feeling alive, you gotta follow the light. Follow the light.
For those who love great animated classics like The Lion King and Prince of Egypt, David is an awe-inspiring animated musical that depicts David as a spirited boy who fought lions, giants, and even betrayal, depicting how one boy's faith could lead him to be king of Israel. David will be released in theaters just in time for Christmas on December 19th, but your family can get a head start by watching the prequel to the film, Young David, which is streaming exclusively right now on Angel. It's perfect for the entire family and has memorable music. So once you join the Angel Guild, you can start watching Young David right now and prepare the fam for the David film in theaters in December. And by joining the Guild, you'll guarantee 2 free tickets to see it. And it's a great value. Let's be honest, going to the movies isn't all that cheap. But if you're a member of the Angel Guild, not only do you get those 2 free tickets to David, but you'll now have access to every single film or TV series on Angel at your convenience anytime. So just go to angel.com/Rav and join there.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shop. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patrons. Welcome back to After Hours on Real America's Voice.
Thank you for rocking with us this evening. It's been a pleasure. It's been a fun ride. I can't believe it's almost over, but we still got some time left on the clock to really get after it. Now, I want to call out Brian for one topic that him and I totally disagree on. When it comes to January 6th, I feel like the government was totally weaponized against American citizens that feel like an election was hinky-jinky, was not the real results that they felt like the outcome should have been. And you saw the way that the charts went. All of a sudden, Biden got 1 million votes like at 3 o'clock in the morning. Then you look at the Georgia election keepers are like hiding them, counting the ballots. There's a lot of funny business surrounding the 2020 election. And there was a lot of patriots that lost their jobs, lost their families, were in solitary confinement for going and protesting. Now, we know that a peaceful protest is totally legal, but an unpeaceful protest is a crime. But there's been many instances, and you can look up the World Trade Organization protests, where FBI agents were caught being what is called an agent provocateur, where they wanted to stop peaceful protesters, so these FBI agents go there and they start busting windows and they make the protest not peaceful. From all the evidence that I've seen, we don't even know how many FBI agents were there on January 6th, and I would say that there was probably a lot. So, Brian, what do you have to say about the idea that there could have been FBI agents that were the ones that kind of radicalized the people to get in there and start causing problems? You really think that that's an impossibility?
Well, first of all, there's no evidence to prove that there were actual FBI agents that radicalized anybody. There were FBI agents there. And I would also say if you talk to anybody that's a former FBI agent, they would tell you when you have tens of thousands of people that are angry that show up to a political protest, it's not unusual to have FBI agents there undercover. Until I actually see evidence, just like you talking about the 2020 election and funny business, which I think is absurd. There's no widespread voter fraud evidence.
A lot of funny business, a lot of funny. We'll agree to disagree. It was a comedy show. Okay.
Okay, well, I disagree with you, but here's what we know for sure. Nobody forced anybody to beat police officers with their own batons. Nobody forced anybody to defecate on Nancy Pelosi's desk. There are officers right now that have
Brian, you bring up Nancy Pelosi. Why didn't she have more security there? She's out there with her daughter filming a documentary. Her daughter's boyfriend's taking pictures with a QAnon shaman. You don't think he was telling people, get in there, QAnon shaman? What is the likelihood that him and the QAnon shaman have a picture on the Capitol steps before they even storm the place? I don't think that is an accident.
So first of all, it's not an accident. Let me ask you a question. If Donald Trump doesn't lie about the 2020 election being stolen, does January 6th happen? Yes or no?
I don't think he lied. I really don't think he lied. I think that the election.
You think so? You still think? Well, that's like, Alex, with respect, that's like saying the Earth is flat. There's no evidence that Trump won. You know that. So let me ask you again: if Donald Trump does whatever,
Candace Owens said it's flat. Candace Owens said it's flat. She probably knows.
Yeah,
she also says Charlie Kirk's a time traveler, but.
Candace Owens is an anti-Semitic idiot. Let's get back to the task at hand. If Donald Trump concedes and does what every other president in American history has done, does January 6th happen? Yes or no?
I mean, I think that we were all under the impression that it was stolen. So I don't think it was just Donald Trump speaking. I mean, I honestly thought it was stolen before Donald Trump even came out and said it was stolen, just from the way that the numbers changed.
And what are you getting this from?
You saw the chart. Brian, you saw the chart.
We have something called mail-in ballots. And they didn't count all the ballots. It took them until the following morning to count all those ballots. Oh, yeah, by the way, Donald Trump is the guy who said, don't mail in ballot. Don't do it. So if you want to blame anybody, blame Donald Trump. Just because they didn't count all the votes yet doesn't mean that it was stolen, Alex.
Brian, I think that they use COVID as the groundwork in order to get all of these states to do the mail-in ballot. And you can actually look at these stats. When it came to voting in person, Donald Trump won all 50 states, even the most liberal states like California, when it came to in-person voting. And then when it came to mail-in ballots, Joe Biden won all 50 states. Wouldn't you agree that it's easier to cheat with a mail-in ballot than by voting in person?
But I just told you, Donald Trump told his supporters not to mail in ballot. What do you expect? He told all of his supporters not to. So again,
so he's telling his supporters to be honest voters. He's telling his supporters to be honest voters.
Okay, so
you have people going to nursing homes and filling out mail-in ballots for people and voting Biden on a mail-in ballot that they just harvested.
Again, just because people say it happened doesn't mean it did. You have to prove that in a court of law. Donald Trump was 0-61 in the courts. The bottom line is Joe Biden won a free and fair election. Donald Trump won the election in 2016 and 2024. You know what the big difference is? Democrats didn't storm the Capitol, and Kamala Harris conceded and Hillary Clinton conceded. You support a crybaby who incited the January 6th insurrection. And I wish he would just admit that, because Donald Trump did not win. There's no widespread voter fraud evidence. He was 0-61 in the courts, and he still whines and bitches about it today. It's an absolute joke. And he literally is an 8-year-old crybaby who can't admit when he lost. It's insane. And the fact that you won't put any responsibility and you won't answer my question directly, I'll answer it for you. January 6th doesn't happen if Donald Trump does what every other president in American history does and concede an election. Even Al Gore conceded.
He's not a quitter. He's not a quitter. I respect that. I respect a man that's willing to double down.
That's a sore loser.
Well, maybe so. But I would say for his political career, it actually benefited him, Brian. It actually helped that he had 4 years off. Then we had the auto-pin president, Joe Biden, who was a walking corpse. And then everybody could see how bad things were. Aren't you happy you're out in Las Vegas that your gas is about $4 cheaper than it was just a short while ago? Excuse me, more like $2.
No, I'm not. You know why? Because everything else has skyrocketed except for eggs.
Brian, you don't like cheap gas. You're such a liar. Who doesn't like cheaper gas? You're such a liar.
What good is cheaper gas when we're paying more for everything else? It doesn't make sense, Alex, what you're talking about. It doesn't make any sense. Everything is headed in the wrong direction. The unemployment rate was at 4.1% when Joe Biden left office. It's now at around 4.5 to 4.6%. Everything in the grocery store is more now than it was a year ago, except for eggs. There are things in the economy that are headed in the wrong direction. Have you seen private sector job growth? Have you seen these statistics? So yes, I'm happy. I guess I'm jumping for joy that gas is 29 cents cheaper now than it was a year ago. But the war in Ukraine is still going on. He said he was going to end that in 24 hours. We don't have peace in the Middle East. He kidnaps a president of another country to steal oil. He's threatening military action against Greenland. We are in a mess right now. And now there are trade deals between our allies in China because of Donald Trump's tariffs. And you're sitting there and you want me to jump for joy and have an orgasm?
Yes. Yeah, because at least Donald Trump. Okay, let me just ask you this question. Do you think Donald Trump loves America, though? Will you at least concede that Donald Trump does like this country?
I think the only thing that Donald Trump loves is himself, and I can give you multiple examples of why I think that way. He doesn't care about anybody else but himself and enriching himself and his own family. He has made $4 billion since he got into office, while he gives the biggest tax breaks to the top 1%. I'll tell you who he loves. He loves himself, and he loves the fact that the tech billionaires are donating to his campaign. Do you think Jeff Bezos would have put $80 million into this stupid Melania movie if Donald Trump didn't win re-election? No, of course not.
Well, why don't you call out Jeff Bezos? Why don't you call out Jeff Bezos for being a hypocrite, for playing both sides?
I have, but I've also called out Melania Trump receiving $40 million for this. I've called out Donald Trump.
Well, she's hot. She's a hot babe. They want to make a movie about her. I mean, give me a break. I can't believe you're surprised. They put Kamala Harris on every Vogue cover. They do that. But Michelle Obama, they call her a hero. She's a saint to these people, and she's on her podcast every week acting like she's the biggest victim in the world. She was the first black first lady.
You really want to have a conversation and my opinions on Melania Trump? I'll gladly give them to you, Alex, if you want them, and I won't.
Well, at least she's a girl, not like Michelle with a big hog hanging out of her pants on the Ellen DeGeneres show.
Well, Michelle didn't come to this country and take off all of her clothes and become a gold digger. She's actually an educated.
Oh wait, now you don't like naked women. I knew you were gay, Brian. I knew it, and now that's all we need. Clip that. Brian Shapiro doesn't like naked women. Brian Shapiro's gay, which is cool. We'll accept it. You know, I'm not anti-gay because I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, so obviously I'm not anti-gay.
I have a big attraction. I have a big thing for Lindsey Graham and George Santos.
Well, Lindsey Graham probably is gay. George Santos is a good guy. At least he's honest about it. Lindsey
George.
Graham,
He's a friend of mine.
not so much.
I like George. I actually think George is a good guy. How about Benny Johnson? Give us your thoughts on that.
He's not gay. Oh my gosh, they all say that. It's so stupid. It's just, he's not gay. He's got a wife. He's got kids.
Being gay. By the way,
there's nothing wrong with being gay, but you guys use it as a pejorative to attack him. Yet you're supposed to defend LGBTQ. No, it just shows you the hypocrisy of the people on the left. Yes, you use it as a pejorative, Brian. You use it as a negative connotation. So yes, you do. Yes, you do.
You're wrong. I'll explain why, Alex. I'll explain why. I don't attack people for being gay. Never would.
You literally attacked Benny Johnson right now. You're literally false accusing Benny Johnson right now of being gay.
Explain why. I attack people who are haters of gay people who are afraid to come out of the closet themselves. There is a big distinction there. And yes, I do believe there are people.
He has a wife and kids. How much straighter can he be? Does he have to have sex on camera? I mean, what? I don't understand what it takes to pass your test of who is straight and who is gay.
So wait, there are no married men out there in society that are gay? Is that what you're claiming?
Of course, but you don't have any evidence. Everybody's like, Benny Johnson's gay. It's just not true. He's not gay. And you know what? I'll just be honest.
I think I have more evidence than you have that the 2020 election was stolen.
Oh, my. Yeah, a bunch of fake rumors and BS. I'm not even going to play into that. But I want to talk about this, though, because we only got you for a couple more minutes. You did say something in the break that I think was very admirable. Transgenders, biological men competing against biological women in sports. I actually like that because I can gamble on the transgenders and win money. Like I won so much money on Leah Thomas's propeller in the pool. I almost turned DraftKings into Draft Queen. So I like the trans in women's sports. But you said that you don't like that. You don't think that that's fair. Is that a correct assessment?
Not to quote Riley Gaines, because I think she's a right-wing grifter and despicable. But with that being said, I do agree with her on this topic. No, I think if you're born a man, transition to a woman, you should not be competing against other women on the playing field. And by the way, most of the country agrees, including Democrats, on that one. So I completely agree with that. It's an unfair advantage, and I've always been consistent on that point. And quite frankly, anybody on the left that disagrees with that you're not very smart. Okay, this isn't about attacking trans people, which I would never do. I just think the Leah Thomases of the world and others. At the same time, when you have grifters like Riley Gaines, who have made millions of dollars making the same speech attacking transgenders. Yes, Riley, we get it. We don't want trans women playing against other women on the playing field, but she's turned it into a Fox News career, and she attacks trans people 24/7 and has no idea what she's talking about when it comes to the issues, Alex.
I think she has a little bit of an idea. She lost to a transgender. I think she has a little bit of an idea. But I agree with you. It's an asymmetrical problem. It only affects women because we do not have women transitioning to men and beating men in men's sports. So that's why I think
By the way, I'd be okay with that.
Serious issue.
I'd be okay with that. If you can find me someone born a woman transitioning to a man.
Well, we let that. A woman's allowed to play college football. A woman's allowed to play in the NFL if they can make it. So we actually allow that. So it just shows you that there is a physical advantage from men. Okay, Brian, this has been a great debate. I actually wish I would have yelled at you more, but you're a nice guy. I like you. You're out in Las Vegas. You like to gamble. You're a little bit of a degenerate like myself, so we actually get along. But before we go, tell the people, how can they find you?
Well, first of all, Alex, thanks for having me on your show. I really enjoy talking to you, and I feel the same way about you. So people can find me, first of all, my show is called Pushing the Limits. The website's pushingthelimits.live. The best two places to find me are on my YouTube page, @PTL Radio Show, and then on my Facebook fan page, which is growing by the day, Pushing the Limits, @PTL Radio Show Facebook fan page. I'm on the air every day, Monday through Friday, noon to 2 p.m. PST. We go live on TikTok. We go live on YouTube. We go live on X. We're live everywhere and on the radio. And I'll say it again, Alex, I appreciate you coming on my show, and I was happy to return the favor. And I look forward to you coming out to Vegas, and hopefully we could prank the assemblymen and the assemblywomen out here one of these days, because that'd be a lot of fun.
We will do that. And this is a call to action. I want all of you Chat Rat and Alex Stein fans to go on his page and make fun of Brian relentlessly and be rude. I don't even care. Yeah, please use slurs about his red hair and about how he doesn't like naked women. Please mention that a bunch. All right, guys. Well, that's been After Hours with Alex Stein. I know it's late, but this show is great. Give a shout out to Brian Shapiro for being fearless and never running away from a debate. But I'm Primetime 99 Alex Stein. If there's somebody that wants to debate me, you have an open invitation on this show anytime, any topic. Let's get it on like Donkey Kong. We'll see you tomorrow night, 11 p.m. Eastern. Good evening. Bye-bye.
Welcome to Real America's Voice.